Good morning. It's so nice to see you all today. As the crisp air of late November wraps around us, we find ourselves on the doorstep of Thanksgiving, a time of year that invites us to pause, reflect, and give thanks for the many blessings that enrich our lives. Meister Eckhart, the German theologian, famously said, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." But let's be honest, it's not always easy to feel gratitude when life's challenges weigh us down. So how do we cultivate a spirit of gratitude even during tough times? Mr. Sotaesan, the founding teacher of Won Buddhism, offers us profound guidance through the fourfold grace. The grace of heaven and earth, the grace of parents, the grace of fellow beings, and the grace of laws. These four graces remind us of the intricate web of interdependence that sustain our lives. They encourage us to recognize the unseen gifts we receive daily and to respond with a heart of appreciation. Even our challenges, when viewed through the lens of these gifts, can transform into opportunities for growth and gratitude. So today I'd like us to focus on the grace of heaven and earth. So what is the grace of heaven and earth? Heaven and earth. In Asian philosophy, particularly in Confucianism and Taoism, heaven and earth symbolize the natural world and the dynamic forces that sustain life. This is not a dualistic concept of heaven and earth, but rather an interconnected, boundless, and ever-present energy that supports all beings. The grace of heaven and earth is present in every sunrise that warms us, every raindrop that nourishes the soil, every breath we take, the air, and the ground that supports our every step. Mr. Sotaesan says in the principal book of Won Buddhism, if we wish most easily to understand the grace we receive from heaven and earth, we must first reflect on whether we could sustain our lives without them. Even the least knowledgeable among us would quickly recognize that we could not live without heaven and earth. If there is a relationship where we cannot live without the other, then where would there be a grace greater than that? Does it make sense? This grace operates through what Sotaesan calls the way, a spontaneously balanced and self-sustaining mechanism of the universe. The way manifests through 8 distinct qualities, each revealing the profound wisdom and harmony that underlies existence. So let's explore these 8 qualities briefly. The way of heaven and earth is exceedingly radiant. This means it's all-knowing and interconnected. Think about how the body instantly senses a tiny thorn pricking your toe. In the same way, The vast system of heaven and earth is keenly aware of the effect of our thoughts, words, and actions. Second, the way is also exceedingly meticulous and steadfast. It operates with absolute precision and unwavering consistency. The sun doesn't skip a day. And the seasons never fail to turn when it's their time. Heaven and earth keep life going without a single pause. It is exceedingly just. Heaven and earth gives its gifts equally to all beings, showing no favoritism. Sir Isaac Newton once said that gravity is like God's love, treating each being equally. Isn't that a beautiful thought? The way of heaven and earth is proper and natural, always following an harmonious flow. So spring transitions into summer, summer into fall, and so on. When the time is right, fruits ripen effortlessly. Nature performs all these operations seamlessly and with perfect order. It knows exactly how to bring everything to fruition in its proper season. Nature doesn't act on a whim. The way of heaven and earth is vast and immeasurable. It offers endless space and limitless possibilities. If you look up at the night sky and take in the infinity of space, you will catch a glimpse of the boundless grace that sustains us all. The way of heaven and earth is eternal and imperishable. It has no beginning and no end. While everything around us changes, the essence of heaven and earth remains constant. It reminds us of the eternal cycle of life, where endings are just new beginnings. It is without either good or ill fortune. Nature does not label events as fortunate or unfortunate. What we perceive as challenges or blessings are simply part of its spontaneous flow. Think of something as disruptive as a natural disaster. It isn't inherently good or bad from the nature's perspective. It simply exists as part of the way. This teaches us an important lesson. Nothing in our lives is inherently good or bad on its own. It is our interpretation, how we choose to perceive and respond to it, that gives it meaning. And finally, the way is free of thought in its applications. Nature gives without expecting anything in return. Its gift, like sunlight, rain, and air, are offered selflessly to everyone and everywhere. These 8 qualities not only reveal the deep wisdom of the universe, but also show us how we can live in harmony with the way of heaven and earth. So feeling grateful for heaven and earth naturally leads us to ask, then how can we honor such grace? If it's your friend, if you feel grateful of your friend, then you may write a thank you letter or buy some nice gift for him or her. But if it's heaven and earth, what can we do to express our gratitude? Sotaesan teaches that the best way to honor the grace of heaven and earth is to model ourselves on its way. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. So to truly honor and be empowered by its grace, we must live in alignment with its principle. So let's reflect on how we can model ourselves on these 8 qualities of the way. If you remember, the first quality is radiance. To model on the radiant way of heaven and earth, we must strive for a deeper understanding. Just as heaven and earth are all-knowing, we too should seek to understand the nature of human affairs and universal principles that govern life. You are doing it now. And this includes recognizing how everything unfolds according to the law of cause and effect. The second quality is meticulousness and steadfastness. To embody this, we need to approach our goals with consistency and commitment. Just as the natural world follows its steady rhythms, like the sunrise or the turning of the seasons, we too can honor this quality by staying reliable and persistent in our efforts. The third quality is justice. To live in alignment with the just way of heaven and earth, we must strive to remain impartial, avoiding the influence of personal closeness or distance in our relationships. Justice also requires equanimity and clarity of mind, ensuring that emotions don't cloud our judgment. When we approach situations with fairness and integrity, we truly embody the justice of the way of heaven and earth. Next is the quality of being proper and natural. To align with this, we must reflect on our actions and discern between what is reasonable and unreasonable. For example, when we are stressed, we might turn to shopping or drinking, hoping to find relief. But is that a reasonable choice? Does it truly solve the problem? So often, even when we know our actions may not be reasonable, we proceed without pausing to reflect. By taking a moment to consider the consequence, we can make choices that align with what is proper and natural, avoiding outcomes that lead to dissatisfaction and disharmony. The fifth quality is vastness. To embody the vastness of the universe, we must let go of our narrow attachment to specific objects, specific people, and specific perspective, and instead cultivate a broader outlook. From a young age, we are often taught to think in terms of boundaries. My property starts here and yours begin over there. But the universe doesn't draw lines or cling to fences. It offers boundless possibilities in its infinite space. By embracing this perspective of openness, we can transcend our limited attachment and unlock infinite potential that resides within us. The sixth quality is eternity. To model ourselves on the eternal way, we must find liberation from the ever-changing nature of life, including birth, aging, sickness, and death. Just as heaven and earth are eternal, so is our spirit and our true nature. While we should honor and care for this physical body, we must also recognize that we are not merely our bodies or positions or any achievements. When we see ourselves as infinite beings connected to the eternal flow of life, we can transcend fear and attachment to the transient, finding true peace and freedom. So you may wonder, how do we know our spirit is eternal? Is anyone who has experienced a near-death experience or something like that? We never know, right? But for me, when I first encountered this teaching, it simply resonated. It felt natural, as though I had always known it to be true. But for those of you who may not feel this way, consider this. Are you a human being having an occasional spiritual experience? Or are you a spiritual being having a temporary human experience? Which perspective gives you a greater sense of peace and connection to heaven and earth? I think it's your choice to which perspective to choose. The seventh quality is being free from good or ill fortune. To live in alignment with this, we must look beyond the labels of good or bad. Sometimes, what seems unfortunate turns out to be a blessing in disguise. And what seems fortunate brings unexpected challenges. By not getting caught up in these labels, we can remain calm and centered in any event in our lives. And finally, we come to the eighth quality, and being free of thought in its applications. To model ourselves on this, we must act selflessly without pride or the need for recognition. I'll share an example. A few weeks ago, I installed a bar on the wall in our kitchen next to the sink to hang dishwashing gloves because they're always missing. If there is a right side, the left side is missing. If there's a left side, right side is missing. So I searched it online and purchased a bar and installed it on the wall, and it worked perfect. I was so proud of myself. So it was perfectly worked. So I couldn't stop asking people, like a few people, do you know who did this? I did, But imagine how much more meaningful it would have been to simply let the action speak for itself, so without the need to say, I did it. Alexander Fleming, after discovering penicillin, he chose not to patent it. He believed it should be freely available for the benefit of humanity. Much like the sun provides light to everyone without charge. He actually said this. The sun doesn't charge us. This selflessness allowed penicillin to save countless lives worldwide. This is the heart of the Sotaesan's teaching on the grace of heaven and earth. So gratitude, again, is not just a feeling. It is a practice. It's a way of life. It's how we align ourselves with the vast, harmonious rhythm of the universe. So let's conclude with a moment of reflection to deepen our connection to the grace of heaven and earth. So settle yourself into a comfortable position. And allow your mind and body to relax. Allow a gentle smile to rest on your lips, inviting rest and ease into this moment. And bring your awareness to your breathing. Feel the air entering and leaving your lungs. With each inhale, take in the vitality of the universe. With each inhale, with each exhale, release tension and stress. Now bring your awareness to the earth beneath you. Feel its steady support. Reflect on how it nurtures all beings equally. Expand your awareness to the greater web of life. Contemplate your connection to the earth, the solar system, and the infinite universe beyond. Reflect on the vast web of life, how you are connected to the earth. And the universe beyond. And finally, take a moment to reflect on the quality of the way of heaven and earth that resonates deeply with your heart. Silently affirm your intention to embody this quality in your life. For example, may I remain steadfast like the turning of the seasons. May I embrace the radiance through deep inquiry and understanding. May I act selflessly, offering my actions for the benefit of all without seeking recognition or personal gain. You can open your eyes. As you move into this season of Thanksgiving, may we carry the grace of heaven and earth in our hearts, and may we live in harmony with its way, offering light and peace to all beings. Thank you for listening.